All right, Mr. 11 Yanks. Welcome to the Dual-Nat Delinquent channel. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. You're the first call up to the roster.
Shocker. Unfortunately, my knee may prevent me from playing a key role in this roster.
Man, a half working Pete Douthit is better than Christian Roldan.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
All right, so I'm Jason, as Pete knows me, but I go by Soul on this channel. This is Luna.
Hello.
And as the channel will suggest, and as the intro will suggest, we are dual nationals. Except for me, I'm a tri-national, but they never make it to the World Cup or anywhere near it. So so Pete, today we're gonna do something a little different than you've ever had on this. Than you've probably had on any podcast, on any video. We're gonna do something a little different. Normally, podcasts ask questions, pre-scripted questions. We're gonna do something a little different. We are gonna let the wheel of conversation pick.
Dope.
All right. Let me just all right, here we go. All right, Pete.
Oh man.
Who is
Do
your
I have to
favorite
go
manager?
first?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Like favorite US manager or all-time football soccer manager?
Let's do both. Let's do those. Let's do both.
My favorite manager for the US so far has been Bob Bradley. He wasn't
Okay.
perfect, but I thought he did a very good job of taking the talent that he had and, finding a system and formation that sort of enhanced their strengths, that suited their skill sets and also covered for their weaknesses. I mean, he took us to a Confederations Cup final, which, all things considered was pretty unheard of.
Yeah.
Obviously got out of the group at the World Cup in 2010. So he's for sure of the US managers, my favorite. Favorite all-time manager? That's really hard to say, man. So many good ones. I think I like Jurgen Klopp the best because
Jurgen
Klopp,
Klopp.
for me, he epitomized so several reasons. One is his just raw passion. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He has fun with it. He laughs and jokes with reporters. He hugs his players. He's a very effervescent coach, and that's sort of, it appeals to me. I'd want to play for him.
All
The
right.
other thing, oh, go ahead.
No. I just said all right. I was just agreeing with you.
The other reason I really like him is because he started off, when he was at Mainz and even at Dortmund with a very high pressing system. And it was all about pressing high and winning the ball and, very gegenpress, like high tempo, 200 miles an hour soccer. But when he went to Liverpool, he adapted his style. He understood that when you're working with some of the best players in the world, the most technical players, you can't ask them to just press and then go direct, right? He adapted, sort of like Julian Nagelsmann did when he was at Leipzig. He adapted, he allowed them to have more of the ball, and he created kind of a hybrid system. Don't get me wrong, he still presses and he still uses that as an attacking option. But he also understands that, you need to rest sometimes, and the best time to rest is when you have the ball, not when you don't have it, right? And B, the players that you have need to be able to break teams down with the ball. And he created this really good hybrid system, and that flexibility and adaptability is something I love about it.
Okay, awesome. Luna, your turn.
Oh, okay. So I actually do not have a favorite manager just because I didn't really, when I played soccer, I didn't really focus on that. It was just, if you're good, if your team was good, I'll admit that they were good. But yeah, and now since I barely transitioned into supporting the US,
Wait, were you supporting Mexico before?
I'm still supporting Mexico. Yeah.
She's
Okay,
the one
but this Thursday in Azteca, who are you supporting?
Oh God, here we go.
I'm putting Luna on the spot.
Put me on the spot. I do not mind. I'm good for Mexico, but I don't have. Okay, so I told Sol this. I was like, I may be supporting Mexico, but I don't think I'm 100% sure that they're gonna win because I have very high expectations. My dad, the way he taught me how to play, it was like having the high expectations, and if you don't complete everything on that damn list, you might as well not have won.
Can we get Luna into USMNT Twitter? I feel like her perspective is necessary.
So who's your favorite coach, Luna?
Oh, Almeida. I want to kind of model my way of coaching like Almeida did for Chivas, which is a Mexican soccer league team. The way he we didn't really win a lot of games, but just the way he was able to inspire and that like our team, I think how long? I think that team's like 300 years old, either 200 or 300, but it's been there for a long time. And the way he was able to like bring one of the best well-known teams from the rock bottom to the top, like he still has respect. Every Chivas fan still has a lot of respect for him, even when
Didn't he win CCL with Chivas?
I think he did.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
2018, they beat Toronto in the final.
yeah. Oh my God, that guy. If I were to ever meet him, I'd just be like, oh my God. But yeah.
Where do you live, Luna?
I live in Highland, California.
Oh, you're not far from San Jose, where he coaches.
So we are gonna go see him play. We are going.
Because I always tease Luna about this because Luna is an avid supporter of Chivas in Mexico, and
Yeah.
I grew up Americanista. My blood is yellow for sure.
We're
So,
major rivals. We
yeah,
shouldn't.
Yeah.
we're rivals.
Yeah.
So I always call I'm always calling them like French Junior FC or something like that because the history of Chivas is pretty much like they kept the French colors from when the French colony were there back in Guadalajara, and they pretty much kept it there. So like every America fan teases Chivas for being a French FC pretty much, and they hate it. They hate it, but it's still funny.
He says
Yeah, you don't want the colonizer's name.
Hey, someone give Bruce Arena a memo call, please. New England. By the way, Pete, this is the girl I told you about that I had pretty much recruited to the US side on your stream that one time. She's
dope.
Yeah. So
Awesome, Luna.
my favorite USMNT manager out of the current ones that I've seen that have taken over from the Bruce Arena era. Actually, I've been a fan since like 2016, so that was Jurgen Klinsmann to now Greg Berhalter. My favorite out of all of them, honestly, you're gonna hate me for this, right? But in terms of like what he was trying to do and who he recruited and like based on merit, I gotta go Dave Sarachan. I love Dave Sarachan because if it wasn't for him, I honestly think that Greg would have never called McKennie up. I honestly don't think so. He probably would have said like, oh, he has no experience, like besides, how do you give a player experience? You play him, but
Yeah.
Greg Dirk don't know about that. So yeah, and
I don't hate that pick. I mean, Sarachan was in a tough spot, right? He had 1 year in between, like right after the disaster, which he was part of. He was an assistant coach. But instead of like going with his guys, he brought in all those young kids and gave them a shot. And I think that's, can't ask for much more when you're an interim manager.
Yeah, you really can't. And let's not forget that he drew with Portugal, and then he drew with the eventual world champions, France.
True.
So,
True.
And yeah, I get that people say that he was a technical donut, but at the same time, it's like he kept France at bay. So
Yeah.
that's enough for my credit. My favorite manager of all time, though, is Julian Nagelsmann. I love Julian Nagelsmann. The guy just like, the fact that he made his debut at 28 for a manager in the Bundesliga, oh, that's already a legendary status enough. But the fact that he took Hoffenheim in his first full season to the Champions League is insane. And the guy that, it's all about adaptation when you're a manager, right? Taking what you have and trying to find a system that works between all of them. He's done that everywhere he's gone. Leipzig, I think they beat Spurs in 2019, I want to say, right? To pretty much advance as the first they've ever gone into the tournament. Just insane. I love Julian Nagelsmann, man. And the fact that he's at Bayern makes me mad because I hate Bayern. But, it is what it is. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I love Julian Nagelsmann. And the fact that he's only, 32 now? Man, he's got a long
something like that. He's like my age, I think, mid-30s, 34.
Man, I can't believe you're in your mid-30s, man. You're like,
well, I seem older.
No, you seem younger, man.
I'm gonna defend you. Damn.
But yeah, man. So yeah, that's my favorite coach. And someone called Julian Nagelsmann for the USMNT. I'm just saying, please.
Dude, I would take that in a heartbeat.
All right. So speaking of the USMNT, I want to get into the score predictions for this Thursday because it's a tough one for us because obviously we're dual nationals. So we support both teams, but when it comes down to it, we there's always one we want to win, right? And this is my side right here. Based on the squad and all the injury updates that have gone on since the roster's been announced, I still believe that the US is going to win, but I think it's going to be like a 1. It's going to be like a 1 going between end result. It's like a 2-1, 1-0, something like that. I think it's going to come down to the wire though. And it really depends like the lineup that Greg puts out, because like even though he's been our manager for like what 3 years, he doesn't have a consistent lineup enough to know where it's gonna go. Like I can't for sure. I can't even pick like three consistent starts. Maybe Pulisic, yeah, obviously, because Mr. America himself. But other than that, I can't be convinced that I can't tell you the truth that I know three players for sure they're gonna be on that field. He just messes with the system so much. The system, the 4-3-3, they're pretty much like the pressing and and all that kind of stuff. It's so annoying, right? But I can't.
Yeah.
It annoys me that 3 years later we still don't know which midfield is going to start.
Yeah.
When the fans obviously we know who should start, but Greg sees different.
I think the problem with him is he takes too long to let go of his favorite guys who are underperforming, and way too long to bring in, the guys that should be there. Like, how long did it take? Even look at Yunus Musa. Remember, he never played a single minute in Nations League, and we were all crying out for him to play.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get called in for the first window, right? And then slowly, finally, they bring him in, and when he does, he does really well. Same with Luca De La Torre. You know what I mean? Like, he takes way too long to incorporate the right players, and he only does it when it's so ridiculously obvious at that point.
So, well,
score predictions. I'll let Luna go first.
Okay. I think it's going to be a 2-1 with Mexico winning. But I am not so sure because I saw the line.
You don't seem very confident, Luna.
I'm not. I told him, I was like, okay, so when I transitioned to the USA, right?
Yeah.
The first game that I saw was Canada versus USA.
Oh my God, what a terrible introduction.
I was beyond disappointed. I felt like my dad when he would watch me play. I was like, might as well turn off the damn game because we're obviously that last goal. I was like, no, there's no point. There's no point. USA shouldn't even just take them out already. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was telling Sol, I was like, if we had that OG Mexico team where it was like Chicharito, Ochoa, Moreno, Salcedo, and all of them back then, I would have been teasing you guys, be like, nope, goodbye, we're winning without a doubt. But I mean, the only player that I could think that is somewhat good, I guess, Moreno's still there, Ochoa is still there, but I mean, Linus, he's good enough, but he's no Chicharito. He's like, I'm not confident, but I'm still.
Well, let me give you some causes for optimism. Raul Jimenez looks over the last 10 games for Wolves like he's back to his old self. Like he's scoring, he's assisting, he is, very involved in their attack. So that's the U.S. has not had to face Mexico with a fully fit, fully healthy, in form Jimenez.
Right.
Tecatito, since he moved to Sevilla, has been playing really well.
Yep.
Chucky Lozano is back from injury. Those front three are terrifying to me as a U.S. fan. I think those front three can really cause us problems. Hector Herrera, is he out or not? Because I heard he was suspended, but then someone said today he wasn't. So I'm very confused.
Really? For the last few weeks, I've been hearing that he's suspended on yellow card accumulation.
That's what I thought too. I don't know, but I actually think that the fact that Guardado is injured is good for Mexico, because bless his heart, he's been so good for Mexico for so many years, but he's 36 now. He's very slow in midfield. He's not able to keep up with the pace of the game for 90 minutes anymore. And I think it'll give a chance to a guy like Luis Romo or Charlie Rodriguez or even Eric Gutierrez, who's now back and playing for PSV. So I actually think that suits Mexico. The real question is, who is Tata going to play at the fullbacks? Because if he plays Jesus Gallardo at left back, Tim Weah is going to have a field day. If he plays Arteaga, I'm much more confident in Mexico's chances.
Especially since they're playing the Azteca. Has the US ever won in the Azteca?
Not in a competitive game.
We won't allow that to happen. That's the thing.
No, I think the Mexican media is going to have a meltdown if the US wins on Thursday.
Which, as an American fan,
would be amazing.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah, as a Mexican fan, you're the disgrace of the family. Might as well just go to another country.
It's funny. It's funny, like you're joking about that, but when Mexico versus USA plays, I'm the only one wearing a USA jersey in my family.
Good for you. You should be singing the national anthem while you're doing
I do.
There you go.
Loud and proud. Loud and proud.
Wherever we stop, if we hear it, he stops and he's like that little pride. I'm just like, I mean, I can say the same because when it's like the Mexico, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Okay, my prediction, I'm going to go a draw. I'm going to go a 1-1 draw.
Ooh.
I think that Mexico scores first. I think with a Raul Jimenez goal. And then I think the U.S. scores off of a set piece. I think Gio Reyna comes on and delivers either a corner or a free kick in, and it's headed in by Walker Zimmerman. That's going to be my prediction.
Ooh.
Oh, the center back problem.
I would say Weston McKennie, but he's not there. So
Yeah. I mean, it could also be Pulisic if he burns the fullback again.
yeah, it could be. Pulisic's typically not great on getting on the end of set pieces. He's more of a set piece delivery guy.
I was just trying to roast Chaka Rodriguez again, man. Like for that.
Oh my God, Chaka and Kota. Remember, it was Kota who like stood in the penalty box and let Pulisic drift into the 6-yard box to get on the end of that header. People forget that.
Yeah.
Not Kota. I'm sorry. What was his name? The 34-year-old center back that played in that game.
Is it Moreno or Nestor Rajo?
No, it wasn't. It was this other guy that's actually a fullback. Let me look it up because I have it right here.
Jorge Sanchez, maybe?
The lineup. Here we go. Nope, that wasn't it. It was okay. Dominguez. That's who it was.
Right.
Julio Cesar Dominguez. That's who it was, who just let him drift into that far post.
I wanna bring back something real quick. You said Klopp hugs his players, right? This is at this point is where Felipe Silva would like bring up the picture of Greg hugging Ariola like his child. Oh god, that picture.
Oh no.
My score prediction, I'm gonna say 2-1 USA. I'm going 2-1 USA. You know, I'm gonna be real with you. I think Greg knows his best lineup, but I just think he's like trying to, you know, like when you and I spoke, trying to horseshoe his like players in there, right? But I think he knows his best lineup. You know, I think Tim Weah is probably gonna like if Gallardo is playing, then you know Weah's probably gonna drift in, deliver a good cross, maybe for Jordan Pifak, who's probably gonna start because he's our most informed striker at the moment. So I think it's gonna be a header in. And I just think Pulisic is, you know, he's coming into the best form of his life right now. Coming into a window with the best form. Reyna played 90 minutes the other day. I don't know if that means Greg is going to start him. I hope he doesn't. Please don't. That's another questionable decision. You know, and let's not forget we're going to have Luca Del Torre, who was his man of the match in the last game he played. So I think he starts. So we're going to have an informed Jordan Pifak. We're going to have Tim Weah, who's not informed, but, you know, he's always a threat. And we're going to have an informed Pulisic, who's going to be playing down the left. With Luca Del Torre and Yunus Musa running that midfield, it's just gonna be chance after chance after chance. We're gonna be knocking on Mexico's door for like the entire game until eventually we force 2 in. My only issue was the center back options right now, because without John Brooks and without Chris Richards, it's kind of questionable. You know, do I trust Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson, MLS center backs, to be able to contain Diego Lainez and you know, Hervin Lozano and Raul Jimenez? I'm not confident.
Do you think he's going to start Lainez, or do you think he's going to start Tecatito?
That's a good question. I guess
I think Tecatito.
Yeah.
I think Lainez is going to be his Hail Mary sub in the second half. If they need a goal, he's going to bring on Lainez, and Lainez is going to torture one of our fullbacks.
Zimmerman, he's them target Zimmerman. I can already see it.
Lainez is good. He's a very good player 1v1. His big problem has been product in the final third, right? Not scoring goals, not getting enough assists, but he's still a very, very dangerous player. We saw this in Nations League.
Yeah.
You know, so if Lainez is coming on, I would legit be worried.
Yeah, I'm sweating bullets at that point. I'm just like, oh, no, please. Because like when Lainez scored against USA in the final, I remember my dad looked at me. He's like, "What's up?" You know. And I'm like, oh, no. He's targeting, like, I already knew. I may not be a certified coach yet, but even I knew. I'm like, he's targeting Tim Ream. He's going to target Tim. He's going to burn him. Oh, no.
So, wait, when Pulisic scored that penalty, did you just look at your dad and go,
I have a recording when I just jumped in front of my dad with the phone. I was like, what's up?
There are probably so many stories of, like, Dual-Nat Mexican-American households all over the U.S. when the U.S. is playing Mexico, where some of them support Mexico and some support the U.S. Someone should make a documentary, you know, just like put a camera in those living rooms and like film, and then like, you know, get into the storylines, because I think it's a super interesting storyline of like your Mexican descent, right? Your parents are Mexican, but you're born and raised in America. And I get it. It's tough. I mean, your heart is almost like in two places, right? It's hard. It's hard to choose, and families have to pick sometimes, you know.
Hey, you're reading my minds, because like that is a perfect segue into our next subject, actually. because we're gonna like, we got our score predictions and all that kind of stuff. Our next one was our identity crisis, as Mexican American kids, because growing up, my parents, they spoke, my first language was Spanish. I grew up speaking Spanish. It's not until I started going to school when I like started speaking English a little more. My parents speak perfect English, but it's like, again, they preferred talking Spanish because that was their first language. My dad was 9 years old when he came to the country, and my mom was a baby, but
He was 9, you said?
yeah, he was 9 when he came to the country.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, he was already established in Mexico. He was like Mexican kid, coming into the States. And my mom was a baby when she came here, but my grandparents are Guatemalan immigrants, and they came here. They only spoke Spanish. They needed my mom to translate for everything, and and my dad, same thing. And that's pretty much like the life of me. I grew up here. I was born to two immigrants, and it's kind of tough because like in since my mom didn't really like soccer, my dad loved it. Right. Anytime Mexico played, the game was on. Right. So I naturally, Mexico was all I knew. I only knew the Mexican national team. I only knew Chicharito. I only knew, Rafa Marquez was the reason I started playing. I only knew America because I didn't know that the English Premier League existed up until Chicharito left for Manchester United, and it confused me because it was like, why isn't Chicharito starting for Manchester? He's such a good player. I did not know that there's a whole world of different, styles of play, and Chicharito did not fit the starting style of play for Sir Alex Ferguson. I did not know that, right? So, when the more I grew up, the more I realized, like, I am Mexican, but I'm not really Mexican,
Right.
I to the real Mexicans of Mexico, I'm not Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm a wannabe, I'm a gringo, I'm a pocho, I'm all that kind of stuff, right? So when I turned 16, even my Spanish is like, cuando hablo español, when I speak Spanish, it's not perfect, and they pick on you for it. Those Mexican kids will come after you. They will roast you for it. It's not you don't speak Spanish all that well. Let me help you with that. No, it's you don't speak Spanish. Big ass Mexican. So it's like it's and even within our families, it's not a choice to speak Spanish. Sometimes it's an expectation.
Right.
If your kids don't speak Spanish, you kind of failed. It's a struggle. It really is. So when I turned 16, that's when I declared for USA, because it was like, I'm American. I'm perceived as American. I feel American. I speak, when I step outside this household, it's an American country. It's an American city. When I step back in here, it's kind of like a Latino household, So it's like, it's confusing at first because no matter what you do, the kids of Mexico, and even my cousins as well, like, they don't see me as real Mexican because I don't prefer Mexican cuisine over American cuisine. I prefer the opposite, So I'm as American as it gets, with brown skin, with the ability to speak Spanish, And Luna, her parents don't speak English much at all. So, Luna, if you want to talk about your experiences.
So both my parents, they're immigrants as well, but my dad was, I think, 17 when he came into the country, and my mom was about 24 when she came. But yeah, at a very young age, up until I was like 5 or 6, I didn't know how to speak English. It was just pure Spanish. And by the time I was 8, I think there was this thing in school where I was, I guess, certified to speak both English and Spanish. But yeah, I had a lot of responsibilities. I was the translator in my family, like the biggest translator, and I still am to this day. But yeah, growing up with that, being Mexican, coming from Mexican parents, but being born in America, I felt more Mexican just because I was surrounded more by the culture. And that's all I've known. That's what I felt more comfortable in. And I mean, yeah, with soccer, it goes down. Like, my older uncles, my cousins, they played soccer, but all of us go for Mexico. I don't think there's anyone in my family who goes for USA. And I remember there was this one time when I was probably like started playing soccer, where there was a Mexico versus USA game, and my uncle called my dad, and he was like, "Oh, are you guys watching the game?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And he's like, "Oh, Luna's going for the USA, right? Because she's American." And I was like, "No, I am going for Mexico." And he was like, "What? You're going for Mexico, but you were born here?" I'm like, "But that's what I know. That's what I'm more comfortable in." And when I started talking to Sol about kind of going into the USA, I kind of felt uncomfortable because I was like, how's my family going to react? How are my uncles, who know that I've always gone for Mexico, going to react? And I remember going to the dinner table, and I was eating, and my dad was eating as well. And I'm like, Dad, I need to tell you something very important. And he looks up and he's like, okay. And he puts his arms across, and I'm like, damn, I cannot get out of this. The moment I tell him, I have to run to my room. I have to lock the door. I have to I am not coming out. And I'm like, Dad, I go for the USA team now.
Treachery.
Yeah, and all I see him to go is like, okay. And I was like, what? You're not gonna yell? And he's like, that's your choice. I don't care. He's like, you are American, so you could go. And he's like, but if it's a USA or Mexico team game, who are you gonna go for? I was like, Mexico. He's like, okay, yeah, you're fine.
So you're an American fan after a Mexico. You're still a Mexico fan if you support Mexico over the US, but now you just have two teams.
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
Yeah, it's still gonna hurt if the USA can't make it, because I want them both. It'd be great to see them in the final. It would be great. But yeah, I think it would hurt my heart more if Mexico didn't go, just because I've been surrounded by it the most.
And that's like your emotional connection, right? That's the heart. Yeah. The heart is still, Sol has probably done a good job of recruiting you, but it's probably going to take some years before you start to have those same feelings for the US,
And with Greg being there, it's not happening anytime soon. It's not.
Oh man. No. Okay, let me ask you guys this: if there were more Latino players on the US, guys like you who maybe were born and raised in the US but were Hispanic, had Latino heritage, Mexican parents, would that change the way you view the US national team? If you had more Pepis, more Jonathan Gomez, maybe Uli Yanez, Alex Mendez, guys like this, or would that not change much for you?
You want to go first, Luna?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, I think if I grew up with that, it would have been, it would have been easier. And I wouldn't have had this pressure at 22. I told my dad at 22, me being scared of him telling him something like that, I don't think it should happen. But yeah, because growing up, I would see the USA and I'd see only white players or African Americans. So I could resonate well, I don't see anyone that looks like me.
Yeah.
And in Mexico, everyone looks exactly like me. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what I feel more comfortable in. And I feel like for the younger generations, if they see someone like, oh, well, they're Mexican, but they're going for the USA, we're like, well, yeah, we still have, Mexico is still going to be a big part of us, but we want to represent our country that we were born in. So yeah,
naturally.
I think it would help a lot, especially for the younger kids who are barely starting to play soccer.
Yeah. If you look at this roster, there's only two Latinos on this team right now. That's Ricardo Pepi and Jesus Ferreira, right? And Jesus Ferreira, I think, is Colombian American. But we have those two out of 27. And considering that Latinos make up more than 30% of the US population, I don't think that's a great representation of what the US is, right? And I think it's something that we as a country need to do a lot better in. Even when I was telling Jason, I think, even if you go to any MLS game, go watch the stadium. At least 50%, if not more, of the fans are Latinos, right? They're there supporting soccer in America. It's so much of our soccer culture was not only built, but literally held up by the Latino Americans. And somehow when we get to our national team, though, there's not enough of them. Now you can make arguments that maybe some of them aren't good enough, but we've seen Greg and his preferences for certain players. It's not always a merit-based include. You know what I mean? It's not all you're good enough so you get called in. There's a fair bit of I like this guy.
Yeah.
I would love for us to get Jonathan Gomez. I think he's a guy who is a very good left back, now playing for Real Sociedad B, and he's Mexican American. I think losing Julian Araujo hurt us. Losing Jonathan Gonzalez hurt us. Losing David Ochoa. All of those three guys, picking Mexico. Of course, that's their right, but now it's it just means less representation on the US, and more you can be born and raised in the US, but at the end of the day, if you're Latino, you have to go, play for Mexico.
Yep. That's how it felt. That's exactly how it felt as well. And yeah, if my family, I feel back then, if my family knew, like, oh yeah, you're going for the USA, they're like, oh, you're the enemy. You're going for the enemy.
Right. There's pressure.
Yeah, and I don't think it should feel that way. I think you should be able to choose, like, have that option of choosing either team, like whatever time you want, and feel comfortable about the decision.
Yeah, but I think part of it is that there's pressure from your families, but I think part of it too is that US soccer has failed to be to really bring in the Mexican American and Hispanic community into soccer. Like if you go look at the board of USSF, it's a bunch of old white men. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, guys, like look at soccer in our country. Also, Latino kids can't afford the academies, right? All the very expensive pay to play system that we have. I live in LA, I go everywhere, every park I see, it's all like I play. I'm the only white guy that plays in the park, on like out of 30 guys I play with them, they're all Latinos. I'm the only white guy, and they think I'm like adorable as hell. That like this white guy comes and thinks he can play, and they respect me because I can play. You know what I mean? That's what I find so interesting is like when you first show up, they're like, but you can play. They're like, okay, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you can play, you have our respect.
It's like an American in England.
Oh boy.
Before I answer this question, I gotta upgrade the plan real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Completely forgot about that. Sorry. I know I'm not professional.
Oh, do you have to extend the meeting time?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, so for me, sorry about that. Zoom kind of cut us out. That's okay. We're back. So for me, if the American team had more Latinos, would it have been easier for me to convert? Not really, because I was already on my way to converting when I was 16 anyway, and there were practically no Latinos there. Omar Gonzalez was the best one, and that's not representation, that's the disgrace. So yeah, not
he like go to Liga MX and he was like the 4th best center back on his team and like never played.
Yeah, so we didn't have any representation back then. I'm a real one. I was there before the disaster, and I'm still here after the disaster. So yeah, sorry, you people.
No worries, man.
But like, nah, I kind of converted because I kind of realized like America's not really like a place where they don't. Yeah, it was for white people. It was a bunch of white people at first and a bunch of African Americans at first. But for me, it was always like America's not really a race. It's more of a place that where we all just play soccer and we all just get together. What color we are doesn't really matter. In Mexico, obviously they're gonna be brown like me, like Luna. And here in America, it's not just gonna be white. It's gonna be white, African American, Mexican American, all that kind of stuff. Asian American. Look at Bobby Wood.
Yeah.
It was a place where we could all just be ourselves, and no matter what color you were, if you were born in America, you're American, right? So for me, it doesn't really matter. It'd be cool to see like more Garcias, more Mendez's, more Rodriguez and all that kind of stuff, but that didn't really play a big factor for me. I kind of just went for the U.S. because I'm American, and I felt more American more than anything. So yeah, it didn't really. It helped, but not too much. It didn't really influence the decision all that much. But okay. So after identity crisis, yeah. So any other questions, Pete, that we can answer?
No, I think you guys nailed it. I mean, I think I don't know what this is like, right? I'm not Latino American, although technically I'm half Argentine, but it's not remotely the same thing. For me, the only difference, I was born and raised in Thailand, right? So I was born and raised to American parents in a foreign country, and I speak Thai fluently. I went to Thai school. I read and I write, and even then it was difficult to feel Thai, even though I was born and raised there, right? It was difficult to feel like I was really a Thai person, even though people were very welcoming and they're very warm, and especially if they notice that you as a foreigner make an effort to learn their language, then they're very sweet and very welcoming. But it's not the same thing, right? It's not. I think I was talking to Beto on Twitter, and he was telling me that what you said, how if you're Mexican American, you always feel like you're not fully American, like you're not American enough for the Americans and you're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans, and you're kind of trapped in this like in between mode. I don't know if you guys feel that or not really.
It's more brutal from the Mexican side because America, again, it's not a set race. It's kind of just like a place where people are born. My, what is going on here? It's more of a place where you're born. But to be Mexican, you have to be Mexican. It's a strict code, Like, you speak Spanish the way we do. You eat our food, and you choose us over America, Otherwise, you're not real Mexican. Or you have to eat hot sauce. It's not a choice. It's a recommend. It's a requirement,
Why are you bringing
What?
He brought that up. Okay, I cannot handle spice. I don't like anything spicy. And every time I've mentioned it to coworkers, to friends, they're like, "Oh, you're not true Mexican." And I was like, just because I don't eat chile, I'm like, I'm more Mexican than you. I speak Spanish. I read it. I can translate it front to back easily. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's how Mexican I am. If I can't eat chili, it's not my fault.
Don't matter. You can eat jalapenos.
My favorite food in the US is street tacos. Like when, living in LA, they have the best street tacos in the world, right? And of course, whenever I go there, I'm also one of the only white guys because I don't go to the taco trucks. Taco trucks are like the halfway version for like white people. The taco stands, like if you go down to like Southgate or, what's that? A couple of places, like that's where it's like the stand is like legit. I know those are the best tacos. And I get the tacos, and then you know how you go and you put the different salsas on. And I always pick the red one, and I start like pouring it on my tacos, and they look at me like, "Uh-oh, this gringo doesn't know what that is." And I was like, "No, I know." And they're like, "It's very spicy." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I know, it's good." And then I eat it, and they're all just like staring at me, waiting for me to like scream fire and run,
Oh, I tease her about hot sauce, but wait till you hear the fact that I don't like Mexican music. For me, it's all the same.
Really?
I cannot stand it. I prefer country over Mexican music, and that is the real crime. That is the real crime right there.
Country music, no. Banda, no. Banda is better than country, without a doubt.
What's banda?
Basically, when it's like a big band, basically like a ton of like they have a tambourine. Yeah, I think it's a tambourine, the drums, the singers, everything. It's like a whole group with the same uniform, like the same suit and everything.
Just pretty much a bunch of Vicente Fernandez is on a band.
Yeah, country. I can't like the damn. What's it called? What's that instrument called?
The banjo.
Banjo. I can't stand the sound of the banjo.
Really? It's beautiful.
I love it.
I love the banjo. I don't like country music if it's like stadium country music where they like basically just pander to like, country people. They're like a truck and and a field and a scarecrow and I love me a girl with short jean shorts. Like that sort of like just pandering to all the stereotypes. I hate that. But if it's real country music like Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, that stuff I love.
Oh man, I love this song called "Mama's Eyes." I forget who it's from, but it's such a beautiful melody. It's amazing. I don't know. Country music for me is better than Mexican music, and I swear, when all the dual nationals and when all the Mexican people watching this, they're gonna come after me. My head is going to be on about me.
Whiskey Lullaby. Have you heard that song?
Oh my god, yes, I have. I haven't heard it in a minute though. But
beautiful song.
Yeah,
one of my favorite country songs.
Whiskey Lullaby. I don't think I've heard it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a sad song. It's a heartbroken song. But like if you're feeling sad, play some Whiskey Lullaby. It's a great song to just sort of mope with.
Here's a hot take. Honestly, country music is just Mexican music, just in English. Same.
I feel like all country music everywhere in the world is the same. In Thailand, they have the same version. It's called Luktung. And it's like the country music of Thailand. And when you listen to the words, it's about this guy in his rice field and he only has a motorcycle and has lost his girlfriend because his girlfriend, is now dating the guy who has a pickup truck. And it's like that song is like, poor me, I only have a motorbike. Maybe if the harvest is better this year, I can get a truck and win my girl back. And I'm like, that sounds suspiciously like American country.
Ours is very different. If we're like, we'll talk about a breakup, but like, screw it, girl, I could get like 10 more and even better than you. And I'm like, hell yeah. Like,
that's called Mexican swag.
Yep, that's what's up, I brought this up with you when we hung out, Pete. It's how Mexican kids, along with the identity crisis, it's just this thing where like Mexican kids and Dual-Nat kids don't like the US for some reason, right? I don't want to say don't like, but it's kind of like a preference over anything American is inferior to anything Mexican, Guatemalan, Salvadoran, whatever, right? And it's the most infuriating thing ever because in my friends group where I go play pickup with them, not lately because my knee is busted right now, but anytime I go with them, they're like, "Hey, look, there's the American guy." And I'm like, "Hey, don't worry." And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. We own you like our bitches in 2021. What's up? 2022 is coming up, and you'll see what's up, But like, it's just like this clash of heads. And even to this day, the cringiest thing I've ever seen is when they denounce the U.S. despite their house is here, their job is here, their high school diplomas, he says here, And for me, it's kind of like, I get that you may not like the U.S. over Mexico, but don't denounce the U.S. For me, that's my hot take. I don't I'm not a fan of that, but that's just how it is in our culture. Like, they would rather go to Mexico than to go to Vegas. It's just this weird thing,
I mean, I'm with them on that. I think Vegas is overrated, to be honest. It's like once you've done 2 slot machines and had some drinks, it's like, okay, But I think it has to do with identity. I mean, again, I probably shouldn't even talk about this because
Oh, you're allowed.
but I'm guessing it's about identity, right? If your identity is a certain place, then you're always going to feel like that place is the best, right? Because that's what you identify with, and everything else is inferior. So in some ways, I get it. I don't know, Luna. What do you think?
No, yeah, I think when I met Sol, when we were like barely, getting into our friendship, he asked me, he's like, well, if you had played professionally, what team would
Hang
you
on. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Are you guys friends or are you like dating? Are you like friends?
No, just friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, trust me, if my parents knew that I was dating an Americanista, I'd be the disgrace. I'd be kicked
Oh,
out of my house.
seriously?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's not even about, it's about like which club he supports.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Can
Yeah,
he cook? Yes. Does he support Chivas? No. Out.
Wow. So now there's a country song about Soul becoming a Chivas fan in order to win.
No,
Yes.
never, never.
Yes.
No, I'm not going to mini friends. Okay, I'm not even going to real friends. You think I'm gonna go to mini friends? I'm good.
Don't worry, Pete. One way or another, I'll make him wear a shirt and I will take pictures.
One day I want to see a picture of him in a Chivas jersey.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. No.
One time, oh my god, one time he was like talking to me about an America shirt. He's like, you can wear it. And I was like,
I would rather put on an England jersey than a Chivas jersey. Okay,
yeah.
I would rather do that. And
I'd
Pete, you may
rather
not
not
know
do
it. Like, I didn't want to bring it up with you the first time I met you because I didn't want to freak you out. But I cannot stand the English to a personal level because every time I am in an English comment section, I am Do you think Jesse Marsh has it bad? No, I have it the worst because it's like, shut up, you wank, or you yank, or both apply to me apparently. It's just this abusive relationship. I'm like, dude, I just want to talk soccer. I want to talk how Leicester always bottles their top 4 chances, no matter where they are. Do they bottle Europa League? How do you bottle Europa League?
The English just think that soccer belongs to them and that nobody else in the world should be allowed to talk about soccer because it's their game. It's an arrogance. I spent 4 years in England, believe me, studying football, soccer coaching. So I know, trust me. And it was way worse in 2010. Like, it was way worse.
Yeah, no.
I like England. I love the accent.
Oh yeah, well, guess what? You're American, so to them, you may look brown, but your accent is American. So don't even try.
I told him, I was like, I could go to England, and then like, are you American? But like, no, I could switch on that Mexican side. I have the accent. I look Mexican, so I could pass easily.
That's true. That's true. But you were saying something and I cut you off. I apologize. What was it?
Oh, it's okay. What were we talking about?
You were talking about identity and, why Soul was talking about how they,
Right, the friendship. Okay, yeah. He told me if you were to go professional and had the option to go for represent Mexico or represent the USA, I said Mexico without a doubt. And it is. I feel it's like more of a comfort. I feel like a lot of dual national players, and like they feel more comfortable with that side of the culture, with being Mexican, because we grew up eating the food, we grew up celebrating the holidays and the religious holidays as well. So everything, you get accustomed to, you're like, and then to kind of go into the USA side where there's not a lot, but it's like, it's not something, easily for me to go in, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm talking about. It is not as common, I didn't see it. I did not see it. It was always like Mexico, Chivas and Mexico. The only teams ever accepted in my household. But now, I haven't seen my family because of COVID for a while, but I know for a fact that once I come with a USA shirt, they're going to be like, enemy. And I'm like, no, I still go for Mexico, please.
Someone should make a jersey that's like 1/2 Mexico and then like 1/2 US with like both crests for like Dual-Nats.
I owned one, but I lost it.
There was one?
They're in LA. They're like, you gotta look hard. You gotta go to like the street vendors of LA and you'll find them. They're
Go to like Chinatown or something.
Yeah, for sure.
I want one.
No, it's funny because like like I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. If you look on my Instagram, I have pictures of me wearing Mexico jerseys all like everywhere. Because again, before I was when I turned 16, I transitioned, right? But when I was 15 years old, I said I want to play for Mexico. Like I want to grow up wearing the badge. But again, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I kind of just switched up.
Yeah.
I felt more American. And like even you asked me in high school, man. Like my ultimate high school goal, I didn't know this, but my ultimate high school goal was to play for the U20 that was going on later that year in 2016, or was it 2017? I don't remember exactly, but there was a camp, and I wanted to be part of it so badly, right? That was the reason why I put in the work. I didn't make it, but it's okay. What I didn't know was that high school is not really taken seriously. In terms of technique and in terms of like skill level, it's not regarded highly.
Yeah.
So it just, but yeah, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I grew up supporting Mexico, but I go for the USA now, and I hope that they win on Thursday. That's just how it is, and it's gonna be funny when my dad sees that, but it's all good. Or conversely, it'll be funny when he's laughing in my face because they won in the Azteca. But
You guys should make a bet where if the US loses on Thursday, Sol has to put on a Chivas jersey.
Oh no!
And if Mexico loses, then Luna has to put on a. Wait a minute. You're Tigres?
I'm America.
America. Yeah, America jersey. And Luna has to send a picture to her family of her wearing the America jersey.
Pete, you're trying to get me eliminated.
You're trying to get me killed, Pete.
But see, this kind of rivalry does not exist in America, right? This sort of club rivalry, I like that's everywhere else in the world, but in America, not America, the worst one is what? Probably Portland, Seattle, right? You're not going to be able to not date somebody from Seattle if you're a Portland Timbers fan. You know what I mean? It's different. It's not the same level of passion and intensity.
Yeah, no, you are trying to eliminate me from my family. I mean, I'm trying to move out.
Look,
sooner.
I own a Tigres jersey just so I could ruin it, right? That's the only reason I have it.
And the last time I'm ever going to be invited on the show.
nah, man, trust, you're good. The next door is Filippo. I gotta get that guy on.
Yeah, I get him. He might be able to talk more about this because he's a Dual-Nat too, right? I mean, he tells me when he goes to Brazil, right? They call him a gringo and they make fun of his Portuguese. And they, why he's not wearing Havaianas and like all these things. They're like, oh, he's just a big gringo now. And he's like, no, I'm not.
Speaking of which, it's like when I declared for USA, I was shocked at how US plays soccer. Because like when being a Mexico fan, if you can't dribble, you're a disgrace to the country, right? You need to be able to dribble and control the ball on your first touch and be able to like make some plays out of that. But when I started taking like the USA very seriously, I think that my first game I ever watched for the US was the game against Argentina when they lost 4-0 in the Copa America Centenario. Which, by the way, Pete, can you say that? Can you try to say that in a Spanish
Copa
accent?
America Centenario?
Hey!
But yeah, that's the first game. And it just shocked me how I don't want to say in the inability to play with their feet, but it just shocked me on like how the stark differences between the two different play styles was, because obviously, look, I grew up Mexican. It was standard to be able to like pass around, dance with the ball, that kind of stuff, right? And then I come to the US, and that's when Pulisic got called up to the team as a 17-year-old, and he's the only one that could do that. And I was like, Zardes can't finish? What is this? Why is he there? What is Bedoya doing? Bradley, what are you on about? Oh my! And then when no, that was a Gold Cup when Clint Dempsey came back. Or did Clint Dempsey play the Centenario too, right? Did he play there? Or
yeah, Dempsey was there, but I think for that semifinal, he was a yellow card accumulation. So he didn't play. That's why we lost 4-0. But Brad Guzan in goal and Chris Wondolowski as our striker. Oh my God.
And then that third place game between Colombia, when I saw Just started to dribble his way into the penalty box and then continue to dribble into the 6-yard box and then not shoot. And I was like, what have I done? I have signed up for eternal torture, but it's okay because, like, again, I love the country and I love this national team, and it's only going to get better from here unless Greg stays for another term. If Greg stays for another term, that's just a recipe for a heart attack.
Let's just qualify, man. I'm like so scared.
Me too. Like, and especially with we wanted to talk about this. Who is your favorite player, Pete, on the USMNT?
Right now?
Yeah, as of right now.
Gio Reyna.
Told you.
Gio Reyna. I think Reina's the best player. I like Pulisic. I like McKennie. I like Dest,
Mhm.
but Reina's my favorite.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Aronson's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, that game, that was the first game where I saw like I was trying to pay attention to the players to see who I like the most, and his style of playing. I told him I was like, if I made it professionally, that would have been my way of playing.
So like hardworking but technical player.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
And the fact that Greg thinks that Palariola and Aronson are two of the same coin is just a disgrace. Just an absolute.
Oh,
Little
no,
boy.
mentality. You have to be strict with them because Greg.
Yeah, you have to be ruthless.
Yeah, at the after interview, he was like, "Oh yeah, we didn't do so bad." And I started like, I was like, "No, you guys did bad. You guys didn't do any
Shit,
work.
yeah.
You guys were moving around. There was no open spaces. What are you doing?" And Sol was like, "No, you have to be nice. You have to,
I did not say that. I did not say. I said that is blasphemy. That is blasphemy. I said no such thing. Okay.
Well, you were like, you said something along the lines of like, they just lost. You have to, bring your players up. I'm like, nah, screw bringing the players up. You guys are shit. Fix your mistakes. By the next game, if I don't see it, none of you guys are playing."
Do you think that after that performance of Giassi's artist, the first thing in my head is be nice? Do you think that's in my head?
He knows I'm not nice. If I don't see him playing my way, I'm not. No. Mm-mm.
Nah, man. And you know what? There is an easy way to avoid losing to Canada the way you did, and that is to play a technical striker that could do a 1-2 with the midfielders and run in behind into space. That is how you beat Canada in a low block, or at least let the midfielders do their thing. Line breaking passes like Luca De La Torre maybe would have been nice. Maybe someone who could take players 1v1, like Tim Weah, let him play a little bit more. The thing I hate about Greg is that I'm a coach too. Right. I can't lie. My first years of coaching was trying to shoehorn players into a premeditated system I went into a season with. But the thing is the more I watch 11 Yanks, the more I watch, Tactical Manager, I've learned that the best thing you could do is have a bunch of players figure out a system that works best for them and just let them play. Do not overcoach. Right. And I feel like, and even Eric Williamson in a podcast said that Greg will put on a whole power. It's like a high school project where he like does this, that. You have to learn how to press. It's a whole system. And apparently he doesn't have the time to develop players, but he has the time to commit to a whole 4-3-3 for 3 years. That doesn't work anytime. And the only time it's worked is when we played against Mexico and we absolutely outclassed them. But even then, we had a half-working Jimenez on the field. The Gatito was low on form because they blocked his transfer to Sevilla. Ervin Lozano was not there. I think he was there, but if he was a ghost the entire game. It just.
You had Chaka and Gallardo at
yeah,
fullbacks.
exactly. It doesn't like. I feel like Greg saw that match is like, see, it works. And then the fans were like, oh yeah, what happened? What happened with Canada? What happened with Jamaica hadn't happened yet, but what happened with all these other? What happened in Panama? Right? If your system is so superior to anything you've ever taught, you can make Zardes and Acosta, Leggett, and Roldan look good, but you haven't. That's the problem with your system, And look, yeah. I don't want to call nobody out, right? But there's a certain YouTuber who said that he doesn't mind the system being in place, and you know what I'm talking about, And I just, it blows my mind that you would be okay with a coach having one form of play only, and that's it. Maybe he's not okay with it, but I cannot openly admit and go on camera and say it's fine. I am questioning this every time I see this. The 3-5-2 was the same thing. Yeah, it was a different formation, but the same principle still applied. I hate the way that Greg coaches. I really do. And again, I'm pretty sure he's a good guy outside of soccer, but as a soccer coach, us dual nationals who grew up with this game, who have a certain way of playing this game, who were free to play with however we wanted, a lot of us went uncoached. The only time we were coaches when we were put into teams. And it's so baffling that Greg will stick to this system. And if you are going to play a 4-3-3, let the players play, give us freedom, give the players freedom. Give me liberty or give me death.
I was going to say, that's the American motto, right?
Right. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, what were we talking about again?
We lost the conversation.
This is passion, man. I love this. More conversations like this. I used to tell the story when I was in Italy, and I was sitting in this cafe in Rome, and I was sitting with this girl who spoke Italian, and behind me, these two men were very angry, like yelling at each other in Italian. I was like, oh, they're having a fight. And she was like, no, they're talking about football. And, I kept hearing the two names, Vieri and Inzaghi, right? They were these two Italian strikers at the time. and they were yelling for three. I kid you not. I was looking at my watch. 3 hours. 3 hours of these two guys yelling at each other about who was the best striker. And I remember thinking, if I go sit in a Starbucks in America, you're never going to hear people yelling about who's a better player, Pulisic or Reina. You're never going to hear that. And I wanted that. I want more conversations. I want more passion. I want more, not arguments, but yeah, kind of. I want people like express their opinion, stick by it, defend it, fight for it, and challenge anybody who disagrees. That's what a passionate soccer fan base is made out of, you know? It's the same in Mexico, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's how we've been since like our friendship started. We're arguing and everyone will hear us yelling and they're like, are they okay? Like, oh yeah, we're just, discussing
We're
soccer.
friends.
Yeah.
At each other's throat of like who's the best coach. And you know what? On the point of like the Canadian game, how do you think Piojo Herrera would have reacted to a performance like that? Piojo Herrera did not take prisoners. Man did not take prisoners.
Yeah.
No one was safe. Not even the reporters who he punched, and that's why he lost his job. Nobody was safe around that man. Oh God. Even though he's a tactical dinosaur, though, I feel like he's kind of like aged out in the game, right? And Mexico's the only place he could actually like coach without being criticized a little too much, right? As I say that, the Mexican media is pretty tough on him, so But again, like I just don't think Herrera should come back. I would love it. He would get the the OGs back and probably get them playing good. But I don't know how he's gonna fare in the modern game anymore. I just don't,
Yeah.
But
They put Almeida in.
maybe like Pizza. I don't think any more foreign coaches after Tata. Tata has given a lot of people a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
Although I will say I don't know who's worse. Pete, like what if Tata had gotten the job for the USMNT? Do you think we'd be in the same boat with Mexico, where Mexico's at, or
Probably. I think the same. Tata and Greg, bizarrely, are very similar coaches. They're both stubborn. They both love their 4-3-3. They both trust these players like too long, even if they're not performing. And they're very reluctant to give young players a chance. So I don't know if it would have been much better with Tata, to be honest.
over time is the biggest teller of all,
Yeah.
And as I say, I understand, like earlier I said Omar Gonzalez was our only representation, but let's not forget we got Roldan, Ariola, and Leggett representing the Latinos. Again, not a
So
good
that's my question. Do you guys consider Ariola Latino, or is he too white?
No, it's not that he's white or not. He's just terrible.
Yeah.
His soccer speaks for him. He's terrible.
And Leggett, do you consider him Argentine?
No.
Like, do you consider him Latino?
No.
What about Reina?
Reina, the fact that he plays I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna agree with me. I don't know if this is a little too out of context, right? But Reina to me doesn't play like an American,
No, he doesn't.
He plays like a soccer player, if that makes sense. The man, like, I love Reina too. I didn't get to answer this question. I love Reina because the man plays like he's got 8 eyes. He's like, you think you've got him from nope. See ya. Little shoulder, shoulder shimmy. See ya. I'll take it to the shot, man. And what's funny is that Luna doesn't really know about Reina like that because she converted to America when he was injured. She has never seen this man in action.
You're gonna love him, Luna. I think he's gonna be your kind of player.
I have high expectations then, and if they're not met, no.
The first video I showed Luna about Reina was the one he's yelling in the Salvadorian's face.
Yeah.
I love that. And not only that, like, there are other players, I love Matthew Hoppe. Matthew Hoppe is probably like my number one striker choice, even though he hasn't been playing all that much. Just what he can do with his feet and all that kind of stuff. He's absolutely rapid. He's like Pepe, just with speed. Is he a better finisher than Pepe? I don't know. I haven't seen.
It's hard to say because we haven't seen him for so long.
Exactly, But I could Matthew Hoppe, I would love to see again. I just think a 4-2-3-1 with Reina feeding Hoppe chance after chance after chance would just be devastating. But hey, apparently, can we just appreciate the fact that Zardes and Leggett are not on this roster?
Yes,
I am.
Thank the gods.
I saw Zardes. I was like, how has he made it professionally?
Yeah.
Like, how? Like, no.
Because he plays in MLS where you don't have to be that good.
No, that's not good enough. Take him out. No.
Yeah.
Do you think Greg was sweating bullets or was shitting bricks when he saw that Zardes wasn't playing no more? He's like, oh no, I have to go by the form matters now. Oh, God forbid. Because if I call Zardes up and not John Brooks, oh my God.
Did you see Zardes on the weekend? He came in the 60th minute and he literally was past the ball 6 yards from goal, just him and the goalkeeper, and he missed the target 6 yards from goal on the ground. Not a difficult shot. All he had to do was tap it in, and he missed it because he tried to hit it with the outside of his boot, and he like passed it outside the outside bounce. Didn't even hit the target. I was like, oh my God.
I wanna like, cause I don't know if you got time for one more conversation, Pete.
Yeah, sure, real quick.
Cool. I want to bring up the fact that Americans, and like, I don't want to be nice to the American public. I want to be like as straightforward as I can be with the American public. I want to be real. Americans are their own detriment in this sport. The fact that they think Kellyan Acosta should be respected more. Like, yeah, okay, Acosta can do one thing right, and that's it. You know, his set piece and his crossing is good, but everything else he's pretty average in. And the fact that this, you know, the Columbus fans will call Zardes his name whenever the USMNT play there, it's for him to be played in. It's just, it baffles me that while the American players have evolved, the fans have not, you know?
I think a portion of the fan base has, you know, there are a lot of people who agree with what you're saying now. I think it's actually a minority of people who disagree, but those minority make a lot of noise, right? Yeah. It's usually that. I think it's changing, but I think it's a process right now. 5 years ago, I think you're right. But I think now that is changing. There's more expectations, more demands. There's better education, right? The fans know more. They're more like involved. And I think it's changing. I think it's going to take another 5 years for everyone to fully get to the point of like, no, we need to expect more. You're an average striker in MLS. That means you're not good enough for the national team. Thank you. No, thank you. You know?
Do you think, okay, so obviously, we all know who I have my favorite of who I want to take over the USMNT for the next World Cup cycle. It's Jesse Marsch. Please bring in Jesse Marsch. Please, for the love of absolute Christ, bring in Jesse Marsch.
Excuse me.
It's all good. It's all good.
I like Jesse Marsch. I think he would add fire and passion to the team. My one concern with Jesse Marsch is he's an ideologue. He believes the game should be played a certain way. And I'm not sure that way is going to fit with the national team, right? He wants this intense, high pressing, you know, sort of the way that we used to see from, you know, him in Salzburg and in New York. And then very direct when you get the ball. No passing, no little combination play. He wants to get the ball and go straight to goal. I don't think you're going to get Christian Pulisic to press at that level. I don't think you're going to get Gio Reyna to press at that level. So I'm fine with Jesse Marsch coming in, but he's going to have to be flexible. He's going to have to adapt his system to the talent that we have, because if he tries to shoehorn the talent we have into his system, I think we're going to have the same problems we have with Greg.
I think Leeds is going to be his biggest lesson, because Leeds is like, you know, obviously he's got way more pressure on him than I think he's realized he signed up for. Maybe he knows, right? So the fact that you're now playing in England with the talented squad, I'll say, right? But with the very depleted squad as well, you know, I think Leeds is going to be our biggest teller for him, because for me, yeah, he failed at Leipzig, but honestly, there's a quote of him saying that he failed, but he didn't really fail. He kind of just like didn't agree with what the board wanted him to do, which was pretty much be another Julian Nagelsmann, right? And I think, like, you know, his time at Leeds is going to tell us if he's adapted his play or not.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
All right, Pete. And that concludes our, you know, our video with you. Thank you so much for agreeing and taking the time to speak with us, man. It's been amazing.
Awesome. No, thanks for having me, man. This is fun. Let's do it again soon.
Oh, dude, I would be so down, you know. And do me a favor, can you tell Filippo I said what's up? I feel like he doesn't like. I feel like he thinks that I'm only friends with you, but I want to be friends with both of you, man. You know.
Yeah, you're friends with both. I just message him on Twitter. I think it's the best way to reach him.
Okay, for sure. All right, Pete, do you have any closing statements for the video?
No, I mean, thanks for having me on, guys. I think honestly, the Latino fan base in American soccer is gonna do a lot to take us to the next level, you know, because this, what I'm hearing from you guys, and I see it all the time, that passion and that like demanding level of expectation is exactly what American soccer needs. So you guys are going to carry us into the next level. You know, I really believe that. So I'm psyched to be part of it, to see it happen. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man. And, you know, anytime you pop a live stream, I'll pop in and I'll be like, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? But yeah, thank you so much, Pete. It's been fun, guys. Amazing. Dual-Nat delinquents out.